The list part 2, what to do here. I won't call her or initiate contact. I will however respond to her calls or invites. I don't want to break my lease and pay. I don't have to move till late summer. So that is when I will plan to go. I have also made some friends here over the past couple months and would like to continue with my counseling, my AA group, and other such things for the next few months. To make sure I am on surer footing when I do have to go, it will actually be cheaper for me to live elsewhere. I can get free counseling through my university, and my rent may be cheaper if I can get in the building. I had looked at back in February where a friend lives. I just redecorated my apartment too. And no need to rush out of here and react by running off yet. I have to say that being cool, calm, and dispassionate was not my strong point in our conversation yesterday. We both cried. It was pretty tough. There wasn't any way I could keep that from happening. We were in a public coffee shop. I am sure we both looked ridiculous. Wife emailed me tonight saying she has been reflecting on our conversation all day. She had asked me to come to church with her and then canceled this morning. She sounded worn out on the phone. Tonight, her email said she would send me something tomorrow over email and we could discuss it face to face later in the week. I responded that I thought it would be better for her to say whatever she needed to say face to face. And if she needed to write it out, to do that for herself without sending it to me. My thought there was that if she plans to go ahead and sign a lease, she needs to say all that kind of stuff to me in person and not hide behind an electronic device. Allowing the distance and impersonal nature of email to make things easier. I didn't say that to her, but that is my thinking. I had a great day. I am an artist, can draw portraits and all sorts of stuff, but I have never painted anything. Today I almost finished my first painting. It looks great. I drew it on the canvas first and then got used to working with brushes. Very fun, relaxing, and exciting to do. New hobby. She emailed today. We are meeting in the morning before my IC. She wanted to spend the evening collecting her thoughts so she can be as direct and clear as possible about what she is thinking. At least I will be able to process the discussion immediately with my counselor. I don't have to respond definitively to whatever she has to say. I can take it to my counselor and talk it through. I think she will want to sign the lease. If she were backing down on that, she'd just tell me without the fanfare and space for thought collection, so she says things just right. Maybe she's trying to think of some compromise. I was very clear to her that I was not bluffing about filing with the courts if she took that step. Once again, I've had a good day so far. I am not anxious about tomorrow and was not fearful or acting out of emotion in my brief responses to figure out a time to meet. Initiated by her. I've been trying to complete my painting, went to the gym, have a meeting later. I need to work on my to-do list that I make each day. I am just carrying on. Tomorrow morning could be another issue once we meet, and if she says she's ready to move out permanently or whatnot. I won't beg her. I won't plead with her, but there is probably no way I won't tear up over it. For me, it is not whether I cry, but how I act toward if I do. I have counseling right afterward, so I'm often at my calmest during that part of the day. So, my W and I met this past Tuesday and she decided to get an apartment. I had IC immediately afterward and processed the whole thing with him. He and I talked about my initial reaction to file for divorce. My tendencies to withdraw, not allow myself to feel various hurts and cover them with anger and some unhealthy habits. And at the conclusion I decided that filing right now would not be a good choice for me. I would not be doing it out of my best intentions and it would not help me move on ultimately. He recommended separation counseling. 1 or 2 sessions to establish the kind of boundaries she and I will establish and to preserve the possibility of reconciliation in the future should we decide to try that. He suggested I recommend it to her since she did not want to file either. She agreed and set up an appointment with a counselor and she will pay for it. In the meantime, I have had no contact with her whatsoever since Tuesday on my initiative. She emailed me a couple days ago wondering what kind of contact we should have till May 1st. When we have counseling. She wanted to know if I wanted to do something on Sundays with her and to have weekly phone check-ins. I responded today that we can establish those things at the counseling session. I didn't tell her, but I want space from her right now. I am disappointing in her decision to move out. Sometimes I am angry, which I have learned is often a cover for me to push away feelings like disappointment and other hurts. So, I don't want to act on any of that toward her, and I just need space to do my own thing till the counseling session and she moves out on May 3rd. Her stuff is already packed up and put in a closet. I feel like I am on top of it. This separation is of course a daily concern of mine, but it doesn't control my life right now. I do, however, sometimes think I should just go ahead and get divorce paperwork in order. But that is usually when I am angry about the whole thing, which just shows me I would be acting out of anger and not out of my own choices and best interests. So, I am not doing that yet. She's paying. My 99 recommended it, so I'm going next Wednesday. Won't hurt anything. Counselor thinks that my not having contact with her these next 2 weeks is my attempt to withdraw and not feel or think about painful things. A habit that has been a problem for me, shutting down, shutting people out. Maybe that is what I am doing. In general, I am not doing that with other people now. I am reaching out, and more social than I have been in years. And it is only 2 weeks of no contact really till the counseling session. So it is not a permanent thing. On the other hand, I am shutting her out mentally. I rarely think about her anymore, and don't really care much at this point. It is going on 3 months apart, and way over a year of fighting and all sorts of troubles before that. So, I'm glad to be rid of the issue for a while. Having fun on my own, painting, lifting and running, meeting with friends, etc. No worries about my career future if she is not around. I can move wherever I want if offered a permanent post. Right now, she would have to work to get me back on board. She's not doing that, so why should I really be reaching out to her? Wife emailed on Thursday to ask what time she can come next Friday to get the rest of her stuff and whether she needed boxes. I have not responded. I packed all her stuff already. I have been doing fine for the most part, not obsessing about the separation, not thinking about other man and letting hatred overtake me with regard to him. And just learning new hobbies. Painting, working out 6 days a week, and such things. Having fun really. But her email, the first in a while now, kind of set me off during the evening. Only got 4 hours of sleep, instead of what I have been getting. 7 to 8 hours. Not that I am worried about her moving out, and whether we'll reconcile someday or anything, but it made me realize that I really don't want or need contact with her right now. I am doing fine. Got me rethinking whether I want to do separation counseling at all, or just tell her I don't want to talk, meet, or email. Since she is moving out, I just want to live my life and not think about our relationship. I'm doing fine without her. I did not think I would come to this point a few months ago, when I was a wreck. I almost feel bad that I am there, but I am a better person today than I was then. I am not cold to other people and am a lot more friendly and open with folks. But with her, I just don't know that I want to have contact. So Conrad's advice about the counseling session might be the way for me to go. Not sure now. I was okay with the idea before, but her email asking 2 quick questions, being the first contact in a week and a half, has me rethinking. Gave this a lot of thought and examined my motives pretty carefully to make sure I would not be doing anything to punish anybody or out of some passive aggressiveness, or even worse for me out of a motive to try to control a situation and perhaps manipulate something I feel anxious about because I have not real control over it. I had downloaded divorce papers from my state's website and started filling them out, but I decided that step would be too much. I would definitely be trying to control the situation and avoiding dealing with issues. However, when I thought about separation counseling and having contact with my I realized that I am doing better when I don't get emails and calls from her, and when I don't feel like I have to respond. So, my thought is that I'd want to continue no contact through May, and then reevaluate sometime in June. I don't think it is necessary to go to separation counseling to say that, and I told my wife as much over an email. She had emailed me wanting times she could come this Friday to move out. I did not factor in her reaction to my thoughts in any way. I am not trying to manipulate her or make her try to chase me or any of that stuff. So, I felt good about writing it out and sending it, since it came from my own decision about my life without trying to control her or the situation, but simply trying to acknowledge how things already are and work with it. Anyhow, I don't think I will be going to the counseling. I did say I would go if she wanted to do so despite what I have said, but that I will not change my mind on it. And we have to go separately. She doesn't drive. I told her I don't think counseling is necessary and I don't want to go. I don't want contact in May, and that is what I would say. She has not replied. If she asks that we still go, I will consider it. She will probably process this with her IC on Monday before replying is my guess. We needed me to meet her at the bank to deposit the tax check and take me off the joint account. I have my own money. We didn't talk at all. I signed the papers and left simply saying have a nice day, while she was still signing. It was a jerk thing to do, and I feel bad about it. I was cold and distant, not cheerful. She saw the old me again, not the person I am becoming. Oh well, it hurt to go there and have a joint account closed, one we'd had for 9 years. Friday, she comes to get her stuff. My counselor says I should help her pack the stuff into the vehicles or find some way to be helpful. Or rather, he asked me what I have to lose by being helpful rather than cold and distant. And I see we talked a lot about this stuff. Basically, he pushed me to see that I have a choice how this ends, even if I don't really have any control over whether it ends. I think it is headed for divorce no matter what I say or do. How amicable do I want this to end? He also pushed me not to close down, not to push down my feelings and not feel them. His point was that no contact with her is a way for me to not feel the hurt right now. But, he said, I will have to deal with them, now or later. Bottling them up has added risks. I've been fairly sad about the whole situation this week. I was doing pretty well. Now I am thinking about it all more. Now that the time has come for her to move out for real, it is not like it was months ago. I can sleep, eat, and I am not having anxiety attacks. But I am thinking about it a lot. I'm sad most of the time, not content. And I do have some anxiety tension. as well as wanting to sleep a lot more during the day. It is like every time she takes another step away, incremental steps in moving out, I have to re-grieve again. Today has been pretty bad. Tightness in my stomach, sluggishness, and sleeping. I feel pretty bad. Tomorrow morning she's coming to get her stuff to move into her apartment. Geez, I thought I was over this kind of awful feeling. I start thinking thoughts about filing divorce papers, which is probably a way for me to cope with the sadness through doing something in anger, and that might hurt her, as long as I don't act on it. Acting in anger that way is not good for me. If I am going to file for divorce, it needs to come from a better place than my own pain and trying to cover it up. I should get my back to a meeting tonight. Don't want to end up drunk either. Tomorrow morning, she'll have people coming with her to help haul her things. That will make it somewhat easier for me not to break down or to act in anger trying to cover it up. Trick will be not to act like an ice cube either. I have a way of pushing down sadness by being hard as a stone. I won't explode at anybody. That is not my temptation. Mine will be to not say a word, to just stare and ignore, to answer curtly, etc. I see asked me why not help pack things into the car. Maybe I will. Maybe it will help me be less likely to be a cold-hearted jerk or to withdraw into my room and tear up in solitude. W is here with a few friends to get her things to move into a new apartment. I am staying out of the way, but not helping to carry things down. I already packed it all and moved everything toward the door, which is quite a lot of help in my view. I read in the AA Big Book this morning about resentments, how easy it is for me to forget. I've made a list in my head of all the wrongs she has done me, and this moving out is another. I tell myself that I am not all that bad. I never cheated, never hit her, never even threatened her. Over the years have been generally supportive, etc. I have been a good husband, but I know I also have my part in her moving. I was also addicted to my work, became emotionally unavailable, isolated myself from others, and started to let little things get to me so that I held grudges once again. But I am working on those things. I feel better in all ways about life. Her leaving has been a wake-up call for me, yet I don't think this is necessary. She does not have to leave. Our marriage is not unfixable. That is my view. She sees it differently. The Big Book says that I should treat her like she is ill, as if she has a sickness, a spiritual sickness that has caused her to harm me and our marriage in this way. And I would not treat a sick person badly. I would not put up an ice wall between myself and that person. I do what I can to help them if they ask for it, and try to listen as they tell of their pain, not thinking to describe my own in return. That is a good way to view this. She's leaving. It hurts like hell, but she's not well, though she doesn't know it. I hope she gets better off on her own. Instead of anger at her, I can feel compassion, empathy, and sadness. The latter is hardest for me to allow, but it is what a normal person feels when a friend is sick. Right now, she and her friends are taking the first load to her new apartment. They will be back. I am not being weepy here today. I don't see how that would help at all, but I have shown emotional pain to her over the course of this separation. She knows I have changed a lot. She says that she has not, though. The no contact thing is probably the hardest and might communicate withdrawal more than anything. I might speak to her briefly before she leaves with her second and last load of things about that. She has not even given me her new address. I will not ask for it, but I find it sickening that I don't know where my own wife is going to be living. I am not going to ask, but it is part of this sickness thing I was mentioning. She knows I have changed and opened up a lot more to people over the past 3 months. She told me other people say this to her as well, yet she has not even told me where she is going to be living. I know the general area, but not where. She's not well. It is probably for the best that she is going to be honest. I'd likely be very frustrated with her here and in that frame of mind. She's back and getting the rest of her stuff. She has taken all her stuff and has left. Before she left, I did say to her that she did not have to do what she is doing, and I think she could have saved this marriage if she stayed. She gave me her key and asked me to consider letting her cat sit when I go out of town. I will get somebody else. Met with a friend today and had a good conversation over coffee this morning. Came back and slept for 2 hours. I've been sleeping a lot. Yesterday when she left, she cried in the parking lot while her 2 girlfriends comforted her. I checked the phone records today, since we are still on the same plan for another couple weeks. She called on 5 times today. Now that she has her own apartment, she must feel free to start that back up. I am so pissed. I downloaded divorce papers a week or 2 ago and started filling them out. After seeing those calls, I feel like I should file. I have also not exposed this emotional affair, and it might now turn physical since she has her own place. To their coworkers. They work together at a religious-based organization. I am very close with some of their coworkers and could cause some big problems if I expose this, especially for that guy. So, I am debating divorce filing, expose this to people. I am so pissed off. I'd like to kick his ex and tell her to duck off. The phone is in my name. I could have it cut off immediately as well. All this is retaliatory type stuff to some degree, and I am not sure it would be helpful for me to follow through on. But it is all swirling in my head right now. Shouldn't have checked those phone records. I already took the phone off and told her I did it. I just couldn't take it, and I don't want to see anymore. I went to a movie last night to take my mind off things. That was good. Tomorrow I am headed to Chicago to meet with an old friend from New Zealand and have a good time. I am filing on Tuesday. I read in a book at Barnes & Noble's before the movie that you should warn your spouse that papers are coming. So I did. I sent a very brief note saying I cut off her phone after seeing the calls and that as a result I would be filing for a divorce as well. I don't deserve to be treated the way she is treating me. And nothing else. No name calling or anything, just matter of fact. Maybe I talk too much even with brief things, but the book I read said it is better to do that. So I did. I also think that informing her of my intention holds me to it. I have blocked her email account. I don't want to hear her excuses. I am done. I just told one of her best friends who is currently in China about her affair. She had advised me last week not to divorce, but she doesn't know about the wife has kept this low-key because of the stigma in religious organizations about affairs. She was able to text me through Google, said the was out of town, and she only wanted to know where to do recycling. As if he's the only person who could tell her that stuff. She won't beg me not to divorce her. I've communicated I don't care through no contact, canceling separation counseling, and guilt-tripping her right at the end of her move-out Friday. And she'll wait for the papers. I don't plan to respond at all. I will still file on Tuesday. I'll need to finish up the paperwork today and this evening. This stuff is so hard. It is a roller coaster, all right. I am pretty sure I have some kind of low-grade depression thing going on as I have been sleeping so much lately. Slept almost all day today in bits and pieces. I swing between anger, hurt, sadness, and numbness. My AA sponsor and my therapist should hear about all this. I am sure my therapist will want me to hold off. My sponsor didn't think I would be filing out of retaliation and a get-even spirit and said if he were in my shoes he would file for divorce. The realization of it being really over though has hit me in the past week and I think that is why I have been sleeping so much. A coping mechanism in my body or something. I need to talk to somebody about this. This has got to be some kind of depression thing. Though I don't really mentally feel all that bad, I felt way worse back in early March mentally. And physically too with the anxiety attacks and symptoms. Or maybe this is a normal reaction. I read that depression is a normal part of grief, and so my sleeping might simply be part of my body's reaction to my increasing realization that this marriage is almost assuredly over. My 99 said sleeping for me right now is a response to grief. He said I should ask myself what I am feeling when I also feel tired and whether I have any reason to use sleep to try not to feel that way, even though I am not intentionally and consciously trying to sleep away hurt. That may very well be what I am doing. So, I need to be aware of what emotions and such are happening. Right now, I am tired. I just got back from the courthouse to get information on how to file my own paperwork for a divorce. I plan to sit down with my and tell her in person that I have filed, why, and what my hopes are in doing so. I suggested that I not try to cause her more pain in this process and show her I respect her and realize that she is responding to pain just as much as I am. Anyway, all that is to say that while I am tired right now, I am also feeling a bit sad about going to the courthouse and such. So, there may be a connection there. I am working on a 4th step in the 12-step program which involves taking a personal moral inventory. I am cataloging all the resentments I have toward other PPL, institutions, and ideas. So far, I have about 8 pages of resentments against my STBX alone. That is a lot of baggage and weight to be holding on to. I'm not ready to let go of most of them, and I don't have to yet. That comes later, step 6 and 7. But I recognize that all of these are harmful to me. I'm not even done listing resentments against her yet, let alone all the crap I'm holding against others. I'm a pretty sick person. I had assumed I'd write a few things down, but when I started thinking stuff just started coming out. Everything ranging from justifiable anger like her maneuvering so I would not go out with her one night so she could go with the to being resentful that she was invited to speak at some event and I was not. We both give talks to conferences and such things on a regular basis. Some of them made me really angry, opening up old wounds, and I had to stop one day because I was pissed after listing several pages of things. Some of them, like being resentful that she gets something and not me, show me for a self-centered person I can be. No matter, it's an inventory. I am still not done. Sponsor said it will take a really long time and I should not try to think I am going to get over them by writing them down. I am looking at all the resentments, just listing what is there. No matter the reason, I am just surprised at how resentful I am and how hard it is to face it. It is hard not because I am beating myself up so much as the wounds reopening. The truth is, I could not possibly communicate well with her even if she wanted to do so now. I have all this inside me. I probably won't do any work on it today. I'll sit for a couple hours tomorrow and do some more. I'm starting to list my resentments toward other people now. Spent a few hours today. Incredible to me that everywhere I have spent time and with all but a few people in my life, I have developed some type of grudge from the time I spent around various people. Betrayal. It is hard to look at this carnage, No wonder I didn't have anybody to call when W left me. Looking at this resume for friendship, I don't really have much to offer. I've made baby steps in the past 3 months toward a less self-centered life. But I'm barely crawling still. I think writing down resentments in some of these cases has allowed me to see their absurdity. In some cases. With others, I am simply jealous and have based my own self-esteem on others getting less than me, profoundly insecure. Went to see a counselor today with my wife. He's a doctor rather than just a social worker with a counseling practice. A huge difference between his approach and our last marriage counselor. He is far better in my view so far. He got us both to agree to come to counseling. Next week we both have an individual session with him, and from there we have couples sessions. It was a rough session today. W was really angry when I brought up the EA. She doesn't like to call it that and got really annoyed about it. He did a great job of listening and watching our interaction, then trying to see whether we both wanted it over or not and discerning that neither of us do. But each of us feels stuck. We'll see. I didn't trust the old MC from the start. I knew her outside of counseling, so it was awkward and probably unethical of her to even do the counseling. I am doing okay. I've had a few sessions of MC with my W that have not went too well. She and I met today and she said she is uncomfortable with this particular counselor, so we agreed to ask a different person in his office. The person we were originally referred to for counseling instead. I understood how it feels not to have an MC who one is comfortable with, since our last MC was a person I immediately felt at odds with and it had bad consequences. Then our conversation today turned sour, tit for tat, jockeying for the victim's chair. I am such an idiot for playing that game. I have a 44-page list of resentments against a variety of people and institutions. And here today I was displaying it all. I have to get beyond this bull crap. Anxiety levels tonight are sky high because of the conversation. Playing that game is just harmful all around. To myself, to my W, to our relationship, to others. Last night I invited W to coffee this afternoon to try again to have a decent conversation and to catch up with each other. She agreed and we had a peaceful and good talk about what each of us has been up to for the past few months. Nothing about our individual counseling work or my 12-step work or any relational talk. I won't invite her for talks till she has reciprocated now. I told her I am open to meeting more often for friendly interactions, but not for relationship stuff and to trade resentments to attempt to make each other apologize and feel bad. For me, I am willing to let some of it go and act as if I am forgiving her if she can take some steps too. I know the with her E is out of the picture. Has been for a while it seems. On the other hand, I am still not all that hopeful about things. We've made big steps by talking to each other and going to counseling. But this is not going to be an easy or short road. My own feelings are still pretty raw. I am sure hers are too. Having been on my own for 3 months, I am starting to get used to this bachelor's life. Liking it and where my life is headed at the moment. Anyway, I'm not begging and pleading. I'm fairly strong on my own, but I am opening up to her a bit to see what happens. My 99 has consistently recommended this to me. I'm not chasing. I met with her 2 Sundays back and we talked cordially, and I let her know I would welcome more time like this. But I will not initiate anything. She hasn't done so either. I saw her at a friend's party on Saturday. She came up to me to talk and asked if we should interact while there or ignore each other. I felt weird about the question and just said that was up to her. We did not interact. I left before her, and when I was a little ways out the door she came outside and asked me if I was leaving, and I turned around and said yes. She said that she would see me later then. She chased me out the door basically to see what I was up to. I did not initiate anything, and I won't. I just cut contact in a cold way that was unhelpful and felt like I needed to let her know that I am open to her. But I will not beg and chase either. Looks like MC is over. She didn't like the counselor. She tried to find another to do separation counseling in her words, but couldn't find one. So that is over. 1 month later, wife and I are in counseling again. Have had a couple sessions with a new female counselor. She was not comfortable with the other guy. 2 males were intimidating for her. I understand not being comfortable with a counselor. I was uncomfortable with our first MC but never thought I could say so, for fear she would think I was trying to dodge it all. So, I didn't mind switching, and I like this new lady a lot. Our relationship has become a lot more friendly. She has finally admitted to her EA, which is over. Previously she would get upset when I called it that, saying she did nothing wrong. Perhaps her IC has helped her there. Not sure. I do not chase her. We have set up boundaries and counseling for our contacts and how we engage with each other outside the sessions, which is really helpful. It takes the worry out of things. Why doesn't she call? Why don't I invite her? Etc. We have an agreement about our contact, and that is good. I'm not sure if we will reconcile. That is not the goal of the counseling necessarily. I personally think such a thing would be a long shot, but I am holding on to it all loosely and participating in the process of trying to establish good communications between us, where we both have to deal with our emotional baggage, so that we can decide later if that is something we want. I'm actually not sure, neither is she. I am sure that I cannot allow my resentments and such to control me, nor can I allow my need to control things by knowing the future to dictate how I behave any longer. It is kind of freeing to let go of it, to let things fall into place how they may. I have been a very controlling person. I am still working on my 4th step work. Now I am listing all the harms I have done to various people, and it is a long list. I have about 46 pages of resentments I have built up over the past few years. Those are slowly dissipating as the light has been shed on them. So, I am working on myself. I am sad that our marriage has come to this point, but I am not depressed. It doesn't control me. I know I can be fine either way, and I am struggling to make sure that I don't try to fix things by pushing in either direction. I'm kind of going with the flow, living pretty easily. My need to know the future and to have a sure path really hampered my ability to live in the present. Over the past month and a half something has been lifted from me. I am experiencing life in a freer way. My resentments toward my wife are not as important, nor my resentments toward anybody. I don't feel the need to use them in a back and forth for a victim's chair any longer. I was a jerk, frankly. I needed to control things, to know my career path, to know my future. To be sure, I overworked, ignored others, treated people like things to get my way. I see myself a little more clearly and why I felt I needed to do those things and felt that way. But my 12-step work and counseling have slowly worked their magic. Something has lifted, and I don't hate people anymore or feel the need to fight and make a mental list of their wrongs and how I should treat them now. Anyway, life is good. Limbo land doesn't have to be hellish. I am finding that when I give up the need to know my future, this not knowing whether my marriage will end or continue isn't so bad. My attempts to control it and push it toward a future in one direction or another are what has been disastrous for me and harmful to others. So, I've given that up. Of course, if she ended up with an OM, it would be over. We are clear on that. The year is over. It is strange, ever since we started back into counseling, I have noticed other women showing an interest in me without me doing anything. I try to keep my distance and never ask other women out for coffee or anything, but I have noticed a number of them coming on to me in various ways. Just today, in fact. That is something I never even noticed before because I really paid little attention to most women. Probably not merely because I am married, but also because of my self-centered ways in which I only pay much attention to people if they can help me in some way. Usually people with some kind of power, and there are less women in power who have ever showed any interest in me that seems like flirting or anything. So maybe it is a good thing that I notice now. It means I am paying attention to people again and not ignoring folks or seeing them as tools for me to use for career advancement or whatnot. My comment: OP is starting to get some interest outside of his STBX. Maybe he is working on himself, and he doesn't even realize things are going to a better direction. Let's find out in part 3 would he come out of this doing better than before.